Dr. Alan Carter sat in his small office at the Green Bank Space Center. The room was dark except for the glow of his computer screen. His eyes were tired from looking at data all day, but he couldn't stop now. Something strange was happening. For 6 months, Alan had been studying radio signals from a star called Tau Ceti. Most days were boring. The signals were usually just random space noise, but today was different. "This can't be right," Alan said to himself. He pushed his glasses up and leaned closer to the screen. The pattern on his screen wasn't random. It had a rhythm, a structure. It repeated in ways that natural space noise never did. Alan picked up his phone and called his friend and co-worker. "Samantha, it's Alan. You need to come to my office right now." Samantha Wells arrived 5 minutes later. She was tall, with short brown hair, and always wore a lab coat, even when she didn't need to. "What's so important that it couldn't wait until morning?" she asked, yawning. Alan pointed to his screen. "Look at this pattern. Tell me what you see." Samantha looked at the screen. Her eyes grew wide. The tiredness left her face. "That's not random," she said quietly. "No, it's not," Alan agreed. "I've checked it 3 times. This is a pattern, a signal." "From Tau Ceti?" Samantha asked. "That's 12 light years away." "Yes?" "And this pattern has repeated 6 times in the last hour." They looked at each other. They both knew what this might mean, but neither wanted to say it first. "We need to tell Dr. Bennett," Samantha finally said. Dr. Eleanor Bennett was the head of the Green Bank Center. She was known for being smart but also very careful. She didn't get excited about things unless there was good reason. They found her in the main control room talking with other scientists about a different project. "Dr. Bennett, we need to speak with you," Alan said. "It's urgent." Eleanor looked, annoyed at being interrupted, but she followed them to a quiet corner. "We found something," Samantha explained. "A signal from Tau Ceti." "We get signals from stars all the time," Eleanor said. "That's our job." "Not like this," Alan said. He showed her the data on his tablet. "This isn't random, it has a pattern, it repeats." Eleanor studied the data. Her face changed from annoyed to serious. "How long has this been coming in?" she asked. "About 3 hours now," Alan said. "And it's getting stronger." "Do you think it's—" She didn't finish her question. Alan nodded. "I think it's artificial. I think someone is sending this signal. Or something." Eleanor was quiet for a long moment. This could be the biggest discovery in human history, or it could be nothing, a mistake, a computer error. "Don't tell anyone else yet," she finally said. "Let's gather more data. I'll call some experts to help us. If this is real, we need to be absolutely sure before we tell the world." Over the next week, more people came to the center. The small team grew to include experts in different fields. Dr. Greg Martinez was an expert in languages and how they work. Dr. Olivia Chen knew all about how different species communicate. They all studied the signal day and night. "It's definitely not natural," Greg said after 3 days of analysis. "The pattern is too perfect, too organized." "So what is it saying?" Eleanor asked. Greg shook his head. "I don't know yet. It's a language, but not one I've ever seen." The signal kept coming. Every day it got a little stronger, a little clearer. They recorded everything, analyzed everything. Alan barely slept. He spent almost all his time in the lab, studying the signals. Something about them seemed familiar, but he couldn't place. One night, while everyone else was sleeping, Alan was looking at printouts of the signal patterns. He spread them across a large table, stepping back to see them all together. And then it hit him. He had seen something like this before a long time ago. He ran to his office and dug through old books on his shelf. He found what he was looking for, a book from college about ancient languages. He flipped through the pages until he found a section about Sanskrit, one of the oldest human languages. Alan looked at the page, then at the signal patterns, back and forth again and again. "No way," he whispered. "That's impossible." But the more he looked, the more convinced he became. The patterns in the alien signal had similarities to Sanskrit writing. Not exactly the same, but there were structures, rhythms that matched. Alan called Dr. Bennett at 3 in the morning. "I think I know why these signals look familiar," he said, "and you're not going to believe it." The next day, Alan explained his theory to the team. Many thought he was crazy or just too tired to think straight. "You're saying aliens are sending us messages in Sanskrit?" Olivia asked. "An ancient Earth language?" "Not exactly in Sanskrit," Alan explained, "but the structure, the way the language is built, it has similarities." "That's not possible," Greg said. "Sanskrit developed on Earth thousands of years ago." "Unless," Samantha said quietly, "unless the aliens have been here before." The room went silent. Eleanor finally spoke. "We need an expert in Sanskrit. Someone who really understands the language and its history." "I know someone," Alan said. "Dr. Laura Patel. We were in school together. She's the best Sanskrit expert in the country." Eleanor nodded. "Call her. Get her here as soon as possible." 2 days later, Laura arrived at the center. She was confused about why she had been called to a space research facility, but Alan had insisted it was important. When she saw the signal patterns, her face went pale. "How did you get these?" she asked. "These look like—" She stopped, shaking her head. "Like what?" Eleanor asked. "Like sacred texts," Laura said. "Parts of these patterns look like ancient Sanskrit writing, very old versions that only scholars would recognize." She traced her finger along one of the patterns. "This structure here, it's almost identical to how verbs work in early Sanskrit." "So I was right?" Alan asked. Laura nodded slowly. "There are clear similarities, but that makes no sense. Sanskrit developed on Earth." "Unless there's a connection we don't understand yet," Samantha suggested. "We need to respond," Eleanor decided. "We need to let them know we're receiving their message." "But how?" Greg asked. "We barely understand what they're saying." "We use what we know," Laura said. "We send a message using basic Sanskrit structures, combined with mathematical constants. If they understand Sanskrit, they'll recognize it." The team worked for days to create a response. When it was ready, they sent it toward Tau Ceti. Then they waited. 3 days later, they got an answer. The new signal was clearer, stronger, and now it contained images. The first image appeared on their main screen. Everyone gasped. It showed a being that looked almost human, but not quite. It was tall and thin with blue-tinted skin. Behind it were symbols that looked like writing. "Those are Sanskrit letters," Laura whispered. "Modified, but recognizable." Alan stared at the image, his heart racing. "They've been here before," he said. "Thousands of years ago, they came to Earth." As more images appeared, a strange story began to unfold. A story that would change how humans understood their own history and their place in the universe. The ancient language of Sanskrit, once called the language of the gods, now seemed to be exactly that. And the gods were coming back. 2 weeks after the first clear alien image, the Green Bank Space Center was a very different place. The small, quiet rooms were now full of people, computers, and energy. The government had sent more scientists, and security guards now stood at every door. The main meeting room had changed the most. The walls were covered with pictures of the alien signals and old Sanskrit writing side by side. In the middle of the room was a large table where the team met every morning. Laura Patel had brought old books and papers from her university. She carefully placed pages from ancient texts next to pictures of the alien messages. The team called these aliens the blue ones because of their skin color. "The more we study their language, the more connections we find," Laura explained to the team. She pointed to a pattern on the wall. "This symbol group in their message matches the Sanskrit word structure for star traveler or sky visitor." "But how is this possible?" asked Olivia Chen. "Sanskrit started on Earth about 4,000 years ago. How could aliens from 12 light years away know it?" "Maybe they don't," Greg Martinez suggested. "Maybe they learned our languages from the radio and TV signals we've been sending into space for the last 100 years. Laura shook her head. "That doesn't explain it. Most of these matches are to very old forms of Sanskrit that aren't used anymore. You wouldn't find them in modern broadcasts. Alan Carter had been quiet during the meeting. He was thinking about something that had been bothering him. What if, he said slowly, what if they didn't learn Sanskrit from us? What if we learned it from them? The room went quiet. You mean, they came here? Thousands of years ago? Dr. Bennett asked. It's the only explanation that makes sense, Alan said. They visited Earth in ancient times and taught their language to humans. Sanskrit came from them. Peter Wilson, who studied stars and space, spoke up. But Tau Ceti is 12 light years away. Even with very fast ships, that's a long journey. Maybe they have better technology than we can imagine, Samantha suggested. Or maybe they live much longer lives than we do. Laura was looking through one of her old books. There are stories in ancient Hindu texts about gods who came from the sky. In flying ships, most scholars think these are just myths, but maybe they're not, Alan finished. Maybe they're history. Dr. Bennett stood up. Let's focus on what we know for sure. The aliens are sending us messages that have connections to Sanskrit. They've shown us what they look like. Now we need to understand what they want. The team worked day and night to understand the alien messages. They learned that the blue ones used a mix of language, math, and even light patterns to communicate. Slowly, they began to understand more. I think I know what this part means, Greg said one evening. He pointed to a series of symbols they had received that day. They're asking for a two-way conversation. They want us to send them visual images like they've been sending us. Can we do that? Dr. Bennett asked. I think so, Peter said. We can use the same radio telescope to send images back to them. It will take 12 years for our message to reach them, and another 12 for their reply to come back to us. That's too long, Samantha said. I'll be an old woman by then. Wait, Greg said, looking at a new message that had just come in. I think they're offering a solution for that problem. The new message contained diagrams and mathematical formulas. Peter and the other space scientists studied them carefully. This is amazing, Peter said after several hours. They're showing us how to build a new kind of communication device. It uses something like quantum physics but more advanced. If we build this, we might be able to talk to them instantly, without the 12-year delay. Can we build it? Dr. Bennett asked. Some parts, yes. Other parts use science we don't fully understand yet, Peter admitted. But they're explaining it step by step. The government quickly approved the project. Money and materials arrived at Greenbank. Engineers and builders joined the team. Construction of the new communication device began. Meanwhile, Laura made another discovery. Look at this, she said to Alan one night. She showed him a page from a very old text. This is from the Rig Veda, one of the oldest Sanskrit texts. It describes bright beings who taught humans about the stars, plants, and medicine. The blue ones? Alan asked. Maybe. And look at this. She showed him another page. This describes how these bright beings left Earth, but promised to return. Someday. Alan felt a chill. And now they're coming back. Word of the alien messages leaked to the public. At first, many people didn't believe it, but when the government confirmed it was true, the world changed overnight. Some people were scared, others were excited. Religious leaders tried to explain how aliens fit into their beliefs. 1 month after the first message, the team made a big step forward. They sent their first clear response to the aliens. They used basic Sanskrit-like patterns following the structure the aliens had shown them. They included pictures of humans, Earth, and the Green Bank Center. 3 days later, they got a reply. The aliens had received their message, not the one just sent, but one sent many years earlier that had reached Tau Ceti. The aliens' understanding of Earth was 12 years out of date, but the new communication device was almost ready. If it worked, they could talk to the blue ones in real time. What do we say to them? Dr. Bennett asked the team. When we can finally have a real conversation, what do we ask first? We ask why they're contacting us now, after thousands of years, Alan said, and we ask what they want. Laura was looking at the latest alien image. It showed what looked like a large ship. "I think they're planning to come here," she said quietly. "I think they're coming back to Earth." The room was silent again. The idea that aliens might actually visit Earth was both exciting and frightening. "Then, we need to be ready," Dr. Bennett said firmly. "And we need to know a lot more about them before they arrive." The new communication device was almost complete. Soon they would have their answers. But Alan wasn't sure if humanity was ready for what those answers might be. The new communication device was finished on a cold Tuesday morning. It didn't look very impressive. Just a tall metal tower with strange antennas and a room full of computers. But if it worked, it would change everything. The team gathered in the control room. Everyone was nervous. They had been building this device based on instructions from aliens they had never met. No one knew if it would work or what might happen when they turned it on. "Are we ready?" Dr. Bennett asked, looking around the room. Peter Wilson nodded. "The power systems are ready. All the parts are connected exactly like the diagrams showed." "The translation program is running," Greg added. "It should help us understand their responses better than before." Dr. Bennett took a deep breath. "Turn it on." Peter pressed a series of buttons. The computers hummed louder. Lights flashed on the control panels. A low vibration filled the room. "Power." "Levels are normal," Samantha reported, watching the screens. "The signal is going out." For 5 minutes, nothing happened. The team watched the screens, waiting. Then suddenly all the monitors flashed bright blue. A face appeared on the main screen. It was one of the blue ones. Its skin was light blue. Its head was larger than a human's, and its eyes were big and dark. It looked at them through the screen, as if it could see them. "It worked," Laura whispered. "It's happening in real time." The alien began to make sounds. The translation program worked quickly, turning the sounds into English words that appeared at the bottom of the screen. "We greet you, children of Earth. We are pleased to speak with you directly once more." Dr. Bennett stepped forward. "We greet you as well. Thank you for helping us build this communication system." The alien's head moved in what might have been a nod. "Your understanding grows quickly. This pleases us." "Who are you?" Alan asked. "Where do you come from?" "We are the Vedana. We come from a world that circles the star you call Tau Ceti, but we have been to your Earth before long ago." Laura moved closer to the screen. "Did you teach ancient humans your language, the one we call Sanskrit?" The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Yes and no. We shared our knowledge with chosen humans. They created a simplified version of our language that could be spoken by human voices. You call it Sanskrit. It was meant to preserve our knowledge until we returned." This confirmed what the team had suspected. The connection between Sanskrit and the alien language wasn't a coincidence. It was proof that the Vedana had visited Earth thousands of years ago. "Why did you leave Earth?" Dr. Bennett asked. "Our visit was always meant to be temporary," the Vedana explained. "We stay with a developing species only long enough to guide them past certain dangers, then we allow them to grow on their own." "And why are you contacting us now?" Alan asked the question they all wanted answered. The Vedana was quiet for a moment. Then it said, "2 reasons. First, your scientific progress has reached a level where we can communicate as equals. Second, there is danger coming to your world." The team looked at each other with worry. "What danger?" Dr. Bennett asked. "A burst of energy from a distant star will pass through your solar system in 2 of your years. Your technology cannot detect it yet, and you cannot protect yourselves from it. We can help." Peter spoke up. "Are you talking about a gamma-ray burst? From a supernova?" "Yes," the Vedana said. "It will harm life on your planet if you are not protected." "So you're coming to Earth?" Samantha asked. "To help us?" "Yes. We have already begun our journey. We will arrive in 16 of your months." The news that aliens were actually coming to Earth was both exciting and frightening. The team had many more questions, and the Vedana answered patiently. They learned that the alien ship was large, carrying about 200 Vedana. They had traveled to many other worlds with developing life forms. Earth was special to them because humans had developed faster than most species. After an hour, Dr. Bennett ended the first conversation. The team needed time to process what they had learned and to report to the government. "We will speak again tomorrow," she told the Vedana. The alien nodded. "Until tomorrow. Learn well, children of Earth." The screen went dark. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Alan broke the silence. "They called us children," he said. "Did anyone else notice that?" "I did," Laura said. "And they said they've guided other developing species. It makes me wonder how much they influenced human evolution." In the days that followed, the conversations with the Vedana continued. The aliens shared more of their history and knowledge. They explained how they had visited Earth during what humans called the Bronze Age. They had taught certain humans about astronomy, mathematics, and medicine. Then they had left, allowing humans to develop on their own. "But we watched from afar," the Vedana explained. "We observed your progress. Your wars and cruelty concerned us, but your art and science gave us hope." One day, a new Vedana appeared on the screen. This one wore colorful clothing and had markings on its blue skin. It introduced itself as a historian. "I wish to show you something," the historian said. The screen changed to show a stone building. It looked very old. "Do you recognize this place?" the historian asked. Laura gasped. "That's a temple in northern India. It's thousands of years old." "Yes," the historian said. "We helped build it. There is something inside that was meant to be found when we returned." The team sent people to the temple in India. Inside, hidden behind a wall that had been sealed for thousands of years, they found a metal box. Inside the box was a small device made of a material no one recognized. "It is a key," the Vedana explained when they showed it on the screen. "It will help activate the protection system when we arrive." News about the aliens spread around the world. Most people were excited, but some were afraid. World leaders met to discuss how to handle the arrival of the Vedana ship. The United Nations created a special group to prepare for first contact. At the Green Bank Center, Laura was studying the oldest Sanskrit texts with new understanding. "These aren't just religious stories," she told Alan. "They're history books. They describe the Vedana, their ship, their technology. For thousands of years, we thought these were myths about gods, but they were visitors from another world." Alan nodded. "And they're coming back. I wonder what Earth will be like after they arrive." Laura looked at the ancient text in her hands. "They helped us once before. Let's hope they're really coming to help us again." 6 months passed since the first real-time talk with the Vedana. The world had changed in ways no one could have imagined before. The Green Bank Space Center was now 10 times bigger. New buildings surrounded the original center. Scientists from all over the world had come to join the team. The small team that had first discovered the alien signals was now part of a much larger group. Dr. Bennett was still in charge, but she now had to report to a special group from the United Nations. Every major country wanted to be part of the preparations for the aliens' arrival. Alan Carter and Laura Patel still worked closely together. Their understanding of the Vedana language had grown. They could now talk with the aliens without using the translation program most of the time. "The ship will enter your solar system in 10 days, a Vedana named Surya told them during their daily talk. Surya was a scientist who had become their main contact. "How big is the ship?" Alan asked. "It is about 1/5 the size of your moon," Surya answered. The team was shocked. They had expected a large ship, but not that large. "Will it land on Earth?" Dr. Bennett asked. "No. It is too big. We will send smaller ships down to your planet." The team had many questions about the Vedana ship and the aliens themselves. They learned that the Vedana lived much longer than humans, about 500 years. They did not have families like humans did. Young Vedana were raised by the whole community. Laura was most interested in how the Vedana had influenced early human cultures. "Did you help build other ancient structures besides the temple in India?" she asked. "Yes," Surya said. "We helped with many buildings that still stand today. The large stone blocks at Baalbek in Lebanon, parts of early pyramids in Egypt, stone circles in Britain. Did you change humans in other ways? Alan asked. Did you change our bodies or our minds? Surya was quiet for a moment. We helped some humans learn faster. We gave medicines that made them healthier and smarter. This is why human progress increased after our visit. This news troubled some people on the team. The idea that aliens had changed early humans made them uncomfortable. Were humans really who they thought they were? Or were they partly created by the Vedana? Meanwhile, astronomers around the world were watching for the Vedana ship. 10 days. Later they found it. It appeared at the edge of the solar system just as the aliens had said it would. It was moving very fast toward Earth. Pictures of the ship were shown on every TV channel and website. It looked like a huge blue crystal shining in the sunlight. People around the world had different reactions. Some were excited, some were scared, some didn't believe it was real. Religious leaders tried to explain what the aliens meant for their beliefs. Scientists were eager to learn about Vedana technology. World leaders worried about security and control. As the ship came closer to Earth, the Vedana shared more information about the danger they had come to help with. The gamma-ray burst will reach your solar system in approximately 14 of your months, Surya explained. It is coming from a star that exploded 7,000 light-years away. Your scientists cannot detect it yet because the light from the explosion hasn't reached you, but the harmful rays travel just as fast as light and will arrive at the same time. How bad will it be? Peter Wilson asked. Without protection, it would damage your atmosphere and expose life on Earth to dangerous radiation. Many plants and animals would die, humans would suffer. And you can protect us? Dr. Bennett asked. Yes, we have done this for other worlds. We will create a shield in space that will block the harmful rays. It will last for the few days needed for the burst to pass by. The Vedana ship reached Earth orbit 30 days later. It stayed on the far side of the moon, but even there it was easily visible from Earth as a bright blue light in the night sky. Smaller ships, each about the size of a large airplane, came down to Earth. The first landing was planned for a flat area in northern India, near the ancient temple where the metal box had been found. The world watched on live video as the small, blue ship came down from the sky. It made no sound and landed gently on the ground. A door opened in the side of the ship. 3 Vedana walked out. They wore simple white clothes. Their blue skin shined in the sunlight. They were taller than humans, with long arms and legs and large heads. Their faces looked almost human, but not quite. They raised their hands in a greeting gesture that looked like a traditional Indian welcome. Then one of them spoke in perfect Sanskrit. Laura, who was there with the welcome team, translated for everyone watching. We return as promised. We are here to help. We bring knowledge and protection. Around the world, 5 other Vedana ships landed in different places: China, Egypt, Mexico, England, and Turkey. All were places where the Vedana had visited thousands of years ago. All were places where ancient structures still stood. At each landing site, the Vedana placed a device near an ancient building. These devices, along with the key found in the Indian temple, would work together to create the shield that would protect Earth. Not everyone was happy about the Vedana's return. Some people worried that the aliens had other plans they weren't sharing. Some governments wanted the Vedana's technology for themselves. There were protests in some cities. A few small groups even tried to attack the landing sites but were stopped. The Green Bank Center, Alan and Laura continued to learn from the Vedana. They were allowed to visit the alien ship in orbit. A small human ship took them up to meet with the Vedana leaders. The inside of the Vedana ship was beautiful. The walls looked like they were made of blue crystal that glowed softly. The rooms were large and open. There was art that moved and changed as you looked at it. Our peoples are connected, a Vedana elder told them. Long ago we saw the potential in your species. We helped you take your first steps toward the stars. Now you are ready to join us. Join you how? Laura asked. When the danger has passed, we will offer Earth membership in the galactic community. There are other species like yours that we have helped. Together we explore and learn. We would like humans to be part of this. Alan thought about how much humanity had changed in just the few months since they had discovered the Vedana signals. How much more would humans change if they joined other species among the stars? Are we ready for that? he asked Laura later as they returned to Earth. I don't know, she said, but I think we're going to find out. 1 year had passed since the Vedana ships first landed on Earth. The huge blue ship still hung in space on the far side of the moon. The smaller ships had become a common sight in the skies, traveling between Earth and the main ship. The Vedana had kept their promise. They had built a shield to protect Earth from the coming danger. 6 devices had been placed around the world at ancient sites. Together with the key found in the Indian temple, they formed a network that would block the harmful rays. The devices looked simple, just smooth blue crystals on stone bases, but the Vedana said they contained very advanced technology. They would only work for a few days, just long enough to protect Earth from the gamma-ray burst. Most people had gotten used to the idea of aliens. The Vedana were now regular guests on TV shows and at world meetings. They shared some of their knowledge, especially about medicine and clean energy. Many sick people were healed with Vedana medicine. Cities began to use Vedana technology to make energy without pollution. But the Vedana did not share all their knowledge. They said humans were not ready for their most advanced science. This made some people angry and suspicious. They're keeping the best things for themselves, said John Harris, a leader of a group called Earth First. They say they want to help us, but they're really controlling us. Not everyone agreed. Many people welcomed the Vedana and wanted to learn from them. Schools now taught about Vedana history and science. Children played with toys that looked like Vedana ships. At the Greenbank Center, now called the Earth Vedana Friendship Center, Alan Carter and Laura Patel continued their work. They had become experts in Vedana language and culture. They helped the aliens understand humans better, and they helped humans understand the aliens. The gamma-ray burst will reach Earth tomorrow, Surya told them during their daily meeting. The shield is ready. You will see a blue light in the sky when it activates. Will it affect anything on Earth? Laura asked. No. You may notice some small changes in electronic devices, but nothing serious. The shield will only block the harmful rays from space. That night, people around the world watched the sky. At exactly midnight, a blue light spread across the stars. It looked like a thin curtain of light, similar to the northern lights but covering the whole sky. It was beautiful. Scientists measured the radiation coming from space. They confirmed that a powerful burst of gamma rays was hitting the shield. Without the shield, this radiation would have damaged Earth's atmosphere and caused many problems for life on the planet. The Vedana really did save us, Alan said, as he watched the blue shield with Laura from the roof of the center. Yes, they did, she agreed. Just like they promised. The shield stayed in place for 3 days. Then, as the burst passed, it slowly faded away. The danger was gone. A week later, the Vedana called for a special meeting with world leaders. It would be broadcast around the world. Everyone knew this would be an important moment. The meeting was held at the United Nations building in New York. The room was full of leaders from every country. 3 Vedana representatives stood on the stage. People of Earth, the main Vedana, speaker began. We have fulfilled our promise. We have protected your world from harm. Now we wish to offer you something more. The room was very quiet. Everyone was listening carefully. We invite Earth to join the galactic community, the Vedana continued. This is a group of worlds and species that work together. We share knowledge, resources, and friendship. We help each other grow. The Vedana explained that there were 12 other species in this community. All had been helped by the Vedana at some point in their history. Now they traveled between stars, learned from each other, and explored the galaxy together. What would this mean for Earth? Asked the Secretary General of the United Nations. It would mean new opportunities, the Vedana said. You would learn about other worlds. You would gain access to advanced technology. Your people could travel to other star systems in time. And what would you expect from us in return? Asked another world leader. To share your unique knowledge and culture, to follow the community's rules of peaceful cooperation, to help the next developing species when the time comes. The world leaders had many questions. Would Earth still be independent? Would humans have to change their ways of living? How fast would these changes happen? The Vedana answered patiently. They said Earth would remain independent but would need to stop some harmful practices, like polluting the environment and fighting wars. Changes would happen slowly, over many years. Humans would have time to adjust. We do not wish to force this on you, the Vedana said. The choice must be yours. We ask that you take time to discuss and decide as a planet. The next few months were filled with debates around the world. People argued about whether to join the galactic community or not. Some were excited about the idea of meeting other species and traveling to other worlds. Others were afraid of losing human culture and independence. Alan and Laura worked harder than ever. They held online meetings to explain Vedana culture to people. They answered questions and tried to help humans understand what joining the community would mean. The Vedana have been truthful with us so far, Laura said during one meeting. They protected us from the gamma-ray burst, just as they said they would. I believe they really do want to help us join a larger community of worlds. But we should be careful, Alan added. This is the biggest decision humanity has ever made. We need to understand what we're agreeing to. Finally, after 6 months of debate, the United Nations called for a global vote. Every adult on Earth could vote yes or no to joining the galactic community. On the day of the vote, Alan and Laura watched the results come in from around the world. It was close, but in the end, the answer was yes. Earth would join the galactic community. This is just the beginning, Alan said as they celebrated with their team. Everything will be different now. Laura looked up at the night sky. Somewhere up there, the other members of the galactic community were waiting to meet humans. I wonder what they're like, she said. The other species. I wonder if their languages also have connections to ours. I guess we'll find out, Alan said with a smile. We have a whole galaxy to explore now. The next day, the Vedana announced that representatives from the other community worlds would visit Earth soon. The first meeting between humans and these new aliens would happen in 1 month. It was the end of one chapter in human history and the beginning of something much bigger. The discovery of a language similar to Sanskrit had led humanity to the stars.